started smoking weed when I was 12. When I was like 16, I started drinking. But when I turned 18, I started doing meth, and it was just all downhill from there. You don't notice, I guess, in yourself how you're losing yourself. Once you do realize it, it seems like it's too late. You don't know what you're gonna do. I didn't have any goals. I didn't have any kind of purpose. When I did have money, I'd spend it on drugs or cigarettes. I was just kind of lost. My dad kind of raised me, my grandma, and my great-grandma, so it was like I had a lot of morals. I was raised right. I mean, I always heard, I had a lot of potential. I didn't see the potential that I had, I guess. I've always known I'm intelligent, enough to accomplish whatever I want. It's just I didn't know what I wanted to accomplish. I didn't know what to do. I had no direction, no goals, really. I mean, just no sense of purpose. I started smoking weed when I was 12. And hung out with those people, with people who smoked weed. It wasn't until I got older, when I was like 16, I started drinking, and I got burned out on that pretty quick. But when I turned 18, I started doing meth, and it was just all downhill from there. I knew I could go to rehab or something like that, but it was the initial step to take to do that I never took. My daughter, she's a little over 2. Once she was born, I knew I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I wanted to have a different life, a good life, and she was my inspiration for changing. And I knew I wanted to get into a program. That was my only goal, really, was to get into a program, get on my feet, and work on getting her. And Victory's the one that accepted me, and it was all uphill from there. It's not the program I was looking for necessarily, but it's the one I needed. It's, because I didn't want a faith-based program. I didn't really care about, finding God or anything like that. I just wanted to get on my feet, and I get to the program, and it doesn't take long for me to put 2 and 2 together. I mean, I've always believed in God. I just didn't know what that looked like. But I figured whoever he was, he wanted me where I'm at. I think it was one of Mark's first classes that I sat through. He explained how once you become a believer, once you put that faith in God, he starts to renew your mind. So it was whenever I realized that I didn't have depression, I wasn't miserable, I didn't have anxiety. When I realized I was taking that medicine for nothing, is when I realized that God was working in me. Why am I even on this medication when I don't feel that anymore? I know it's not the medication, making me feel that joy. Because even when I was on it, like when I was in prison, I was still miserable. Like, it barely helped. But once I came to Victory, I didn't feel that sense of misery. Since coming to Victory, I've got my license for the first time in my life. I've never had a license. I got my Social Security card. I got Medicaid. Got a library card. I wanted to go to culinary school when I was younger, but then drugs happened and I just kind of didn't do that. And so when I got to Victory, I found out I can do my VAs here, and things just worked out to where, I could work here too. And I think that was all God kind of directing me towards pursuing that. I got more money saved up now than I've ever had. I've never had my own car, but I'm getting ready to buy one, so yeah, I might buy a car today, actually. So it'd be cool. My first car. All you need in this life to be happy is Jesus. That relationship with Christ that's where we find our purpose. That's where we find our sense of direction. And I never had that. I never had a sense of direction or anything until I came to Victory and knew who I was in Christ. If you don't have that sense of purpose or direction or hope or anything, you can find it in Victory. It's been a really good year. The best year I've had in all my adult life.